Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell in the upper right-hand corner. Follow me on all forms of social media. Check me out at thatdrummerguy.com and enjoy the following presentation.
But anyway, it all worked out. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Well, I'm glad you were able to take the time to be able to do this interview and talk about this brand new album from the Defiants, which is almost been out a month now, and I've really been able to really enjoy what you guys have done with this. I mean, I love what you guys have done with the debut album, but it's great to see where you guys are at now in 2019.
Oh, cool, man. I hope it's where you want us to be. I mean, we really have no kind of preconceived notion on, where we're going with any of it. We just kind of, go for it. And but luckily, the record came out pretty good, and people seem to like it, so we're happy.
Oh, that's so great. So, with that in mind, I mean, how did the songwriting process begin for this album?
Similar to the first album, we just, a couple of phone calls between me and Paul, and we just kind of decided that we were going to start compiling ideas, and most of the time, it's myself that sends Paul a bunch of ideas that I might have. It seems to work better that way. We've tried it the other way, and it kind of doesn't really work that way. So being the, I guess, for lack of a better term, executive producer on this whole thing, I think it kind of works better if the ideas start from me. And then what I do is I just compile as many as I can, whether they be just kind of musical sketches or, a song that has a finished chorus or a song that has a finished verse. It could be different every time. And I basically just send him everything I have. I, do quick demos of them and send it to him on in Dropbox or something. And then, he listens to them at his leisure. And then the ones that he likes, he works on, and then sends them back to me, and then I kind of go, I like this, I don't like that, yada yada, what have you, and then it just comes from there. And then, when we both kind of get excited about something, we know that we're on to something good. So usually the songs that end up on the record are the ones that we're both excited about.
Yeah, and it's so great to see that too, because when I listen to this album, it does sound very exciting for that reason. I mean, it definitely sounds like songs that were very inspired and really wanted to be made. I mean, no matter how heavy, no matter how fast, no matter how melodic it or somber it can sound. I mean, everything about it, it's just like it's this great diverse sound that's going on with the band, and it's so great to see that.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, we try. It's the good thing about the Defiants as opposed to other things that I've been involved with is that there are no rules. So we can go from, super heavy metal to super sugary pop on the same record, and our fans seem to kind of come along for the ride. So it's not like, maybe with Danger, where we were kind of stuck in we had to write one kind of, particular style of song. Whereas with the Defiants, we could kind of do whatever we want. So it's pretty cool that the fans are open to it.
Oh, yeah, totally. And of course, being a fan of Danger, and everything that you guys have done with that, it's great when you are able to find that outlet to be able to do the things that don't particularly fit into a band like Danger. I mean, it's great for the soul to be able to do that when you're a musician, especially when you want to be able to branch out and try something new that might not fit into what you normally do. So when you get the chance to do that, I imagine it's got to feel very inspiring.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, for me, it's like I enjoy the writing and the recording and the engineering, the producing, all of that. I enjoy that probably more than the performing end of it. The performing end of it now, I'm middle aged now. I'm in my 50s, so it's like that's kind of getting a little bit hard to do for me. So not that I don't still enjoy it, I do. But I enjoy much more, just at my own pace, being creative and being, for lack of a better term, an artist. So I need to do that. And when I can't, or when I can't do that with Danger for one reason or another, or whatever I'm working on, I need that outlet. And so I'm very grateful that Frontiers, gave Paul and myself the opportunity to do this.
Yeah, and Again, just like looking at the track list and seeing what it is. I mean, like, "Love Is the Killer" is such a great heavy opener to it, and then you got like such an amazing ballad like "Alive" at the end, and then "Drink Up," which I think is just a fantastic way to be able to end the album, just have that great party feel going on to it. And then everything in between it too, just like being able to see all these different sides. It feels like an album that should be heard from start to finish.
Oh yeah, and that's hence the way we sequenced it too that way. It's funny that you mentioned "Drink Up" because I was just on the phone with Rob before today, and we were kind of both laughing how nobody seems to mention that song unless you're from the United States. It's just very strange. Like, people in Europe never mention that song. Japan, whatever, Middle East, whatever, wherever it is, they do not mention that song. They mention all the others. But people in the States always I think they just get it, like when we wrote "Drink Up," the reason for writing that song was just like, I was on the phone with Paul and I was like, we need to write like just a drinking song. We don't have one. We never had one. I never wrote one. Just a real good, fun party drinking song. And so, we didn't take it too seriously. I mean, we did, as far as the songwriting was, but, it was just supposed to be like a fun way to end the record. And then, there are all these people that are reviewing the record saying, "Oh, I love the record, but the last song, doesn't fit." And I'm like, I mean, come on, man. I'm like, have a sense of humor. It is what it is. It's a party song. It's a drinking song. They were trying to, the other people that are reviewing the record are trying to like kind of, put that in the same box as all the other songs, which it doesn't belong there. You know what I mean? But I'm glad that you picked up on it because it's just a fun song, and that's why we put it at the end of the record. That's the way we wanted to end it.
Oh yeah, and "Alive" would have been a great ending to the album if you wanted to look at it that way, but I love the idea of the fact of just like trying to pick everybody up after it and just like going out and having a good time at the end of the album rather than like having that as like the first single or the first track or the second track. Have it at the end so people like they go through this whole adventure musically and then like going out and having fun at the end. I love that.
It's exactly what we were going for, so I appreciate that you picked up on that. Totally, yeah.
So, and speaking of that, I mean, with that being a conscious effort to be able to have that close out the album, I mean, what was it like to fill out the rest of the track list?
It was a little tough because, when we finished the record, we, Paul, as well as myself, have our favorites or our babies, whatever you want to call them. And so we kind of, were kind of struggling with how to sequence the record. I usually let Paul do that because I kind of scrutinize it so much to the point where I start to get aggravated, so whereas like, for instance, one of my favorite tracks on the record is "It Goes Fast," yet I would never start the record with that, you know what I mean, because I know just because I like it doesn't mean that our fans are going to like it. So we try and keep a few things in mind when sequencing it. We try and keep the tempos of the songs. Obviously you don't want to have too many songs back to back that sound similar or at the same tempo, and you kind of want to have some strong tracks up front, towards the beginning of the record, but then again, you don't want to not have any towards the end. It's a delicate balancing act, and Paul actually sequenced both of the records, and with not much argument or discussion from me, discussion with me about it, because I kind of trusted him with that, and I think he did a good job. The only thing that we were kind of going back and forth with on this one was whether to open the album with "Love Is the Killer" or "All Nighter." Those two songs we were kind of flipping back and forth, and the reason we didn't open up with "All Nighter" was because we felt that track was not indicative of most of the record, so that's kind of why we put it in the middle.
Oh, that totally makes sense. And yeah, I love the way that the track list came out this way, because it does just have like this great ebb and flow feel. And yeah, I mean, there's not too many heavy songs together. There's not too many ballads together. There's not too many classic throwback songs together. I mean, it feels like it's at a great pace, and that's the way an album should be.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate that. Appreciate it a lot. Yep.
Oh, totally. So, with it being out nearly a month now, I mean, how does it feel to have the album kind of on the backside now, and you're able to move forward?
It's rewarding and yet at the same time a little depressing. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, with the way music is now, it's just so weird. You know, it's not like back in the day when you would, do all this promotion for a record and then go do a full tour and release a single and then 6 months later another single. It's not like that. It's like the record's released and 2 minutes after it's released, everyone's asking me when the next one's going to come out. So in that way, it's a little bit depressing because there's such this buildup and such anticipation, and then you kind of release it, and then that's it, man. I mean, it's done. You kind of want, the juice, for lack of a better term, to keep flowing just for a little bit. You don't want it to just be like out and then done, and then okay, on to the next thing. You kind of want to, it would be nice to find a way to kind of stretch that out over, say, 6 to 8 months or something, you know what I mean? Because we're at this point, I don't know if we're going to be going on a year-long tour or anything like that. So they did it a little bit better this time, in releasing a few singles, for lack of a better term. Again, they released a few singles, videos, what have you, and so that made the anticipation more. But again, the record comes out. Most of the people said they loved it, which is great, and bought it, whatever. And I'm sure there's still a few people that are, getting turned on to it and buying it. But for us, it's like it's great that it's out, but it's also a little bit sad because we want the kind of momentum to last a little bit longer.
All right, I'll be crossing out that question about the next album. But no.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
No.
I totally agree with you.
We totally plan on. Yeah. We plan on doing another record, so we do. Oh. We always feel that way. We're like, as soon as we're done, we're like, all right, let's not wait another year before we start another one. Let's wait, 6 months, and then everybody kind of gets back to their normal lives, and then it becomes further and further in the rear view mirror, and then it is another year before we start, or a year and a half, or something like that. But no, we plan on doing more.
Oh yeah, and I was totally kidding about that too, and I agree with you so much because this is an album that, it's just like, even though it has been almost a month since it's come out, I mean, it is something that people should be going out and checking out right now rather than like worrying about the next release and stuff like that, because I'd love to see how these songs turn out live in that full setting, just like getting some proper tour promotion behind it, getting more singles after the release of it and everything, because this is an album that deserves that.
Oh, thank you. And in a perfect world, that's what would happen. But we all know the way the music industry is now, so it's it's not like that there are that many people asking already for the next record. There's still a lot of enthusiasm about the release and excitement about it, but for us, with every day that passes, again, further in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, and sadly that does make a lot of sense with the music industry, but that's why I'm so glad to be able to talk about it after the release as well, because there might be people that are checking this out that may not be familiar with the band or even know that there's a new album coming out, and they might want to go out and check it out. So, it's why, rather than just like promoting it before it comes out, I'm glad in this case I'm able to help out after it comes out for that reason, because this is something that I thoroughly enjoy, and I really want people to be able to check it out as much as you do.
Oh, thanks, and go promote away. get as many people into it as possible. I mean, it's definitely harder to get through to the rockers out there. The few of them in the States, for some reason, it's like because the country's so vast, So, but we appreciate all the promotion, any kind of word of mouth that's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Hold on one second.
Oh, sure.
What's up? Go for it. I'm doing an interview. All right. It's my son. My son asking for a snack. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, no problem at all. One thing I did want to make sure to ask about, because I really enjoy the style so much, is the album cover. I mean, I really love that Japanese feel behind the album cover. Like, how did that come together?
It was pretty easy. Once we decided on the title being, not the title, kind of the theme, we couldn't really think of a title, so I was walking around my house one day and I just thought, we should call the record maybe, Roman numeral 2 or the second chapter or the sequel. And so I liked all of that. And when I said sequel, for some reason I liked this word, but I don't want to call the record sequel. So then I started to think of, what would be a cool language to say sequel in, and Japanese always pops in my head because I'm just really, fascinated by the Japanese culture and anime and everything Japanese. So this was a perfect opportunity for me to finally do it. I've been wanting to do it my whole career, to do a Japanese themed album cover, being such fans of, Cheap Trick and Budokan and all that stuff. And so when I contacted a friend of mine, a Japanese friend of mine, and asked them how to say sequel in Japanese. I got a laundry list back of how to say it. I mean, there's literally like 8-9 ways to say it. And I looked at all the English translations, and the one that stuck out to me was Okusho. And I found out that was like a more of a street, like slang way to say sequel. And I was like, oh, that's even better. So now that we had the title, then it was just a matter of contacting the art guy Stan Decker, who did the first album as well and a bunch of Frontiers releases. He's brilliant, and I just sent him a bunch of like shots of like anime that I thought looked cool, and I described what I wanted, and I sent him the street in Japan, like a real photo of a real narrow kind of spooky street in Japan, in Tokyo, and kind of described what I wanted, and literally in like 3 emails we were there. So it was super easy, and it came out great, and I love it. It's my favorite album cover that I've ever done, or been associated with, rather.
Oh, and it's so cool to see that too, and I just imagine like being able to see like the physical version of that too, when it's on vinyl or on CD, just being able to see that and hang on to that. I mean, I imagine that's got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm definitely going to get like the high res version of the art, maybe without the Defiants logo on it, and make it into a poster or something, hang it in my house. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so cool to see that happen too, and yeah, I mean, I just keep looking at it, and it does really fit the album as well too. I mean, especially when you throw it on right from the beginning and you look at the album cover. I mean, it has this great distinct feel to it, and I'm glad you really went this direction because it helps the album stand out even more.
Thanks. I mean, wow, it's a lot of compliments. I'm very, very appreciative, and it's basically everything you're saying is everything that I was thinking of, and Paul and it's for some reason, I guess it's true, when things are just meant to be, they flow, and it was very easy to just put this whole record together. The first one was a lot harder, meaning, I mean, this record was harder, meaning that we were scrutinizing the tracks more and the performances more, but the songwriting was easy, the record title was easy, the cover was super easy. It was just, it came together like just you snap your fingers, and that's kind of the way that Steve and I wrote Bang Bang, like in 3 seconds. So, you never know. Then maybe this is the way we should do everything, just nice and simple.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine that great feeling that when everything really does come together the way that it is supposed to, and I think that's truly what happened with this album from the fan aspect as well too. I mean, just seeing this great album cover matching up with this amazing album behind it, and just knowing how nice and smooth everything went for the most part. I mean, I imagine there's gotta be some trials and tribulations that always come out with making an album, but the fact that it went as smooth as it did, I mean, that's such a great feeling, and yeah, I mean, it gets me excited to see what's going to be happening with the band in the future.
Yeah. Myself is included in that. We're looking forward to the future, and hopefully there'll be one. We take things day by day here, but the record, the response has been great, and Frontiers has been like really cool with us, and supporting us and everything, and hopefully we'll do some touring behind it maybe next year, and then God willing, we'll do another one.
Oh, so cool. So, with that in mind, I mean, possibly those opportunities coming up next year. Is there anything else that's going on in your world right now? Like anything Danger related, or anything else you got going on?
We're going to Japan to do 30th anniversary shows in Japan, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's just kind of weird that I released an album with the Defiants that's Japanese based, and I'm going with Danger. I just kind of laugh at that, as if these things only happen to me. I should be going with the Defiants to promote promoted Japanese style album in Japan, but no, I'm going with Danger Danger to do 30th anniversary shows there, and there might be some of that next year as well. In around the world, we'll see. But we're just basically again taking it day by day and fielding offers, and hopefully good things will come. And then again, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, and again, that's just so cool. I mean, being able to celebrate 30 years of Danger Danger over in Japan, being able to release a new album with the Defiants. I mean, it's incredible that you're able to have all these different kinds of outlets and being able to still travel the world and being able to do what you want to as well. I mean, there's just so many great things that can come from being a musician, even though how hard it can be in 2019. I'm glad that you still get to live out all of these things.
Yeah, I mean, it's let's not fool anybody. It's very rough. But we've been very fortunate. We're all in good health, and none of us have dropped dead yet. So, and there's other bands where they have one member of the band, and the rest of them aren't around or quit or whatever. So we're very fortunate that we've been able to all remain pretty vibrant, healthy, and be able to tour, and we don't do a lot of it. We're very selective, and maybe that's why. Maybe because we don't go and pile into a van and rough it out in the United States, playing 50 shows in 50 days kind of thing. Like some bands do. We don't do that. So maybe that's why we could still continue to do it. Because we kind of pick and choose our moments, and it's been working out great.
Yeah, and
we're very fortunate.
And I imagine those shows have got to mean so much more when you're not doing like 50 shows in 50 days, like playing to a Tuesday night and there's no one there because the promoter didn't promote the show right. I mean, when you're able to go out over to Japan and, like everyone's there because it's the 30th anniversary of Danger Danger tour. I mean, I just got to imagine that's so much more rewarding.
Yeah. We're pretty strategic about that. We make sure that we work with the the best promoters that we can possibly work with. I mean, there's a lot of bad ones out there, and we've worked with them too. But we really try and be very we scrutinize all of that and make sure that we're working with people that are going to do the right thing. And then most of the time it works out. Sometimes it doesn't, but it is rewarding when it all comes together. Yeah.
Oh, totally. And I think with that, I think that's an amazing note to end on. And again, thank you very much for taking time to be able to do this. It was awesome to be able to talk to you about everything going on in your world right now. What to look forward to, just the fact that you guys are going back over to Japan for the 30th anniversary of Danger Danger. But of course, talking about this brand new album from the Defiants, Zokusho, which is available now through Frontiers Music. I love this album from start to finish. It captures so much of what I love about the sound from the first album, but being able to have its own identity with the sequel sophomore album, and it's so great to see that. It's great to hear your voice being so excited about talking about it still, and it was just great to be able to talk to you about all of it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of the good questions. You did your homework, and appreciate all the support and that you like it, and I'm hoping that everybody that picks up the record kind of was able to maybe escape their lives for a little bit and enjoy some good fun music, and we'll just keep going, man. Just keep doing it.